It's just a short hop from Sofia, Bulgaria to Pristina, Kosovo. We arrive at Pristina's Adam Jasari Airport, named after one of the founders of the Kosovo Liberation Army that fought for an independent Kosovo. Pristina is Kosovo's capital and largest city with a population of about 200,000. As expected, there are quite a few Soviet-style apartment blocks. But surprisingly, there are modern buildings too, like the Institute of History at the university. And there's quite a bit of new construction. This is the Cathedral of Blessed Mother Teresa, started in 2007 and still under construction. And some construction's been stopped by the Kosovo War. This Serbian Orthodox church was started by the Serbian government. Now issues of ownership are in the courts. Although Kosovo declared its independence in 2008, Serbia still considers it a province of Serbia, temporarily under UN control. We're here on Eid al-Adha, the Feast of Sacrifice, and these farmers are doing a brisk business in lambs to sacrifice. Kosovo is predominantly Muslim. 93% are ethnic Albanians. This is the Fatih Mosque, built in 1461. It's located in the oldest section of Pristina. We work in a little bird watching on the city tour. Our next stop is the Ethnography Museum. It contains a traditional 18th century house set in a walled compound. This is the living room and the kitchen and dining area. The cabinetry has survived 250 years very well. Traditional textiles and costumes are also displayed. This exhibit depicts the traditional death rites. A nice collection of period gold jewelry and some interesting handmade musical instruments. There's more in the Museum of Kosovo, but unfortunately, we have no time. These are Roman headstones in the garden of the archaeological division of the museum. In 168 BC, the Romans conquered the Tribali, a Thracian tribe living in what is now Kosovo, which then became part of the Roman province of Illyricum. This is the monument to Brotherhood and Unity, built in 1961. The three uprights symbolize the three people of Kosovo: Albanians, Serbs, and Montenegrins. And we know how this turned out. At the base of the monument are a group of stylized human forms, which have been updated with the flags of all the countries that helped Kosovo win its independence. They especially revere the role that the U.S. played, and especially Bill Clinton. Our last stop on the city tour is Mother Teresa Boulevard, a modern pedestrian mall. Anchoring one end of the boulevard is the Kosovo government building, obviously brand new. In front of the building is a statue of Skinderbo, a legendary 15th century Albanian who fought off the Ottomans for decades. Also on the boulevard is a statue of Ibrahim Rugova, the first president of Kosovo. We have arrived at our hotel, the Swiss Diamond. From a window, we see our panorama of old and new. And another special treat, some folk dancers entertain us at dinner. This morning we're going to Prizren. We're still looking for more about that complex relationship between Kosovo and Serbia. The countryside's very pleasant. Prizren is in the southern part of Kosovo on the Prizrenska Bistrica River. Above the town is Prizren Fortress, which was the capital of the Serbian Empire, 1300 to 1345. Halfway down the hill from the fortress is the Church of Christ the Savior, dating to the 14th century. Scattered around the town are monuments to local heroes who died in Kosovo's fight for independence. We're headed for the St. George Serbian Orthodox Church, but can't help but notice the Albanian flag and the freedom fighter. The church was gutted during the Kosovo War in retaliation for Serbian attacks on mosques. It's only been recently restored with support from both Kosovo and Serbian governments. It looks quite austere compared to all the other Orthodox churches we visited. The Old Stone Bridge is a landmark of Prizren. Originally built in the 15th century, it was reconstructed in 1982. The next stop is Cinepasha Mosque, built in 1615. It's decorated in the Ottoman style. Under the Ottomans, Prizren became an important administrative center. Our next stop is Gračanica Monastery. It is a Serbian Orthodox monastery founded in 1321. The current church was built in the 14th century on the ruins of a 13th century church, which in turn was built on the ruins of a 6th century basilica. It was heavily damaged by the Ottomans between 1378 and 1389. Today, it's a convent with 24 nuns. Gračanica was recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2006. On the way back to Pristina, we stop at Gazimestan, Place of Heroes, a 1953 monument commemorating the Battle of Kosovo in 1389. In 1989, Slobodan Milošević delivered an inflammatory speech here on the 600th anniversary of the battle. It served to add to nationalistic and ethnic tensions just prior to the breakup of Yugoslavia. Not far from Gazimestan is the tomb of Sultan Murat I, who was killed in the battle. The tomb was built in the 14th century. Murat I was the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire from 1362 to 1389. Under his leadership, the empire expanded into Anatolia and what is today Serbia, Albania, Bulgaria, and Hungary. The Battle of Kosovo wiped out the bulk of both armies. The leaders of both sides died. Eventually, the Serbian principalities became vassal states. Kosovo was conquered in 1454, and the Ottomans ruled the Balkans for over 400 years. We're back at Pristina Airport. This Kosovo-Serbian relationship can't get any more complicated. It's got religious, ethnic, language, and nationalistic elements. But the Kosovars are optimistic and looking to a bright future as an independent country.